It happened 4 years ago today when Ukrainian forces took back control of the town of Bucha from the Russians. It was a moment of liberation quickly overshadowed by what had happened under Russian occupation. In the first weeks of the full-scale invasion, Russian troops killed hundreds of civilians, war atrocities that are now being investigated as possible war crimes. Russia continues to deny any wrongdoing. DW's Teri Schultz reports.
Bucha, the very name of this city, is now synonymous with some of the worst atrocities uncovered in Russia's war of aggression against Ukraine. The very grounds of this church, St. Andrew's, was itself a mass grave where 116 bodies were exhumed after the liberation of the city 4 years ago today. Many of them were women and even children. The European Union's top diplomat and a dozen government ministers from EU countries paid homage to victims. Kaja Kallas says what happened in Bucha in 2022 is a reminder that Ukraine should not be asked to surrender more land to Moscow, as has been proposed in so-called peace plans.
Whoever is saying that, just give your territory away, it's not only territory, it's people. And this is what happens to the people on the occupied territories. They are killed, they are tortured, and also, their culture is suppressed. So this is what we have to keep in mind.
Kallas would like this not just to be kept in mind, she'd like to see it handled in court. The EU is a driving force behind the effort to set up a new tribunal to try the crime of aggression, bringing leaders to justice for ordering actions like the massacres in Bucha, not just the perpetrators, who can be prosecuted for war crimes by, for example, the International Criminal Court.
They also need to be held accountable, and that's why we need the special tribunal for the crime of aggression. It's still moving. It's moving, but it's of course it could be moving faster.
Ukrainian Foreign Minister Sybiha says the number of countries backing the tribunal is growing. Sybiha says the ashes of Bucha demand justice to be restored.
And DW's Teri Schultz, she joins me now from the Ukrainian capital. Teri, you were in Bucha earlier today. So were foreign ministers from across the European Union. They were there with a purpose. What message were they trying to send?
That's right. They were there not just to commemorate what happened in Bucha during the Russian occupation that lasted for almost a month 4 years ago. They were there to say that they will do everything possible to hold Russia accountable, not just for the killings of at least 500 people here in Bucha, but also across Ukraine. There are cities that are still occupied by Russia right now, and we don't even know for sure what's happening there. So these ministers from European countries, led by Kaja Kallas, wanted to say, we will not forget about this. We will hold you accountable.
Kaja Kallas says that she wishes things were moving faster on being able to set up this tribunal. How far has it actually progressed?
That's right. She's a former lawyer, and so she can look into this process and think of ways that things could be moving more quickly. But it is moving. So the tribunal is really in its infancy. The legal mandate for it is being worked out. Basically, the seed of the tribunal has been organized by experts from 40 countries. So they're very much working on making it, amenable to many supporters once they get up and running. It does not exist yet. It does not have its funding in place, but every day they are working on this. The European Union intends to be one of the founding members of the tribunal. They've got other countries coming on board. I know Latvia just announced yesterday that it wanted to be one of the founding members. So as she said, things are moving. She would just like to see it happen a lot more quickly because as we just said, Russia continues to commit these atrocities daily, and they very much want to try to form a deterrent by bringing some leaders, if possible, to justice.
And we know with the United States focused on the war with Iran at the moment, we imagine that European officials are worried that Ukraine is being pushed down the agenda. How worried are they?
They are worried. You know, for Europeans, Ukraine is their war. You know that we've seen many of them say that Iran is not their war. But here, of course, with the war just on the edge of some EU member states, they very much feel that this is an existential threat to their own survival. And that's why they were here today telling Ukraine, we will be by your side. Whatever happens in the rest of the world, we are here. We will continue funding you. We will continue equipping you with weapons to the best of our ability. That really is the message here today. To the Ukrainians, we will not forget you. To the Russians, we will not forget what you've done.
And Teri, there is also a new push, at least rhetorically, on diplomacy between Kyiv and Moscow. President Zelensky said there at the meeting of foreign ministers that he has proposed a truce for Easter ceasefire. Take a listen to what he said.
We have proposed a ceasefire for the Easter holidays. We hope that the United States will support this proposition, and we are waiting for a response from Russia. Tomorrow, I will speak with the American team, including on this issue, and we hope for results. Results are needed for everyone.
Ukraine is proposing this ceasefire, Teri, but President Zelensky, he doesn't seem to have confidence that the United States is going to back him on this, does he?
That's right. It certainly didn't seem like he knows the answer to that today. Now, Zelensky has reason to worry, I think. He himself has said in the last couple of days that, for example, the U.S. security guarantees that he would be seeking in the eventuality of any kind of peace deal would require Ukraine giving up all the Donbass. Now, that's really a no-go for the Ukrainian president and for many Ukrainians. So he can't be sure of what the U.S. position will be on this. Now, of course, it would be normal to think that everybody would want a ceasefire, for a pause in the killing, a pause in the hostilities. But I think that he's very much looking for a very solid answer on that when he meets U.S. officials tomorrow.
Yeah, and regardless of what the United States does, is there any hope that Russia would honor such a deal?
That's certainly an even bigger question. President Zelensky said that he has seen no sign that Russia is looking for peace. Of course, that doesn't mean we know what President Putin would say about a short-term ceasefire. Let me just remind everyone that last year, Russia proposed an Easter ceasefire and said it would last 3 days. But according to the Ukrainian side, Russia broke that ceasefire immediately with some 400 shells just within the first 6 hours. So I don't think that the Ukrainians have a lot of confidence in any promise that Russia would make, but it's better than having nothing. So I think that President Zelensky is very much hoping that he can take an Easter rest and possibly have this pause. We'll just see how that goes. A few days till Easter, Brent.
That's exactly right. We'll see what can be delivered, if anything, over Easter. Teri Schultz reporting tonight from Kyiv. Teri, as always, thank you.